Dr. Crandell, Dr. Diaz-Archundi, I'm going to proceed with the questions. I'm going to ask questions to both of you at different intervals because we have plenty of questions for both of you. So, my first two questions go to Dr. Crandell. Do you have an easy formula for calculating the adequate diet according to age, weight, and height?
So the question is a formula. Well, yes, there are formulas, but I have to tell you that I've become lazy when it comes to calculating diets for horses. And I always tend to turn to a software program that we've developed at Kentucky Equine Research called MicroSteed. And with this program, I can put in all of the ingredients of the diet. So the forage and the concentrate, any supplements. And then this computer will, the computer will calculate what the animal is actually taking in, and then I can make recommendations from there. So yes, there are ways to calculate diets, but I don't really do much by hand anymore.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Another question for you, Dr. Crandell. Why is temperature related to a horse's growth?
Oh, so temperature is related because an animal has a comfort zone, a temperature comfort zone. So that means that when the temperature is, and it's a little bit different for horses from different regions of the world, but when the horse is in an environment that's like 20 degrees centigrade, it's not burning any calories in order to make energy. It's not burning any calories to keep warm or to cool. So that's called the thermal neutral zone. Now, when the temperature drops to like 0 degrees centigrade, then that's going to be outside that thermoneutral zone. And then the body will have to burn calories in order to keep warm. And then on the other end of the spectrum, it's just the same. So if it gets too warm, so let's say it's 40 degrees, and the comfort zone for that horse is more like 30, then it's going to need to burn calories in order to cool its body. So that's why temperature influences the nutrient requirements of the horse.
Thank you, Dr. Crandell. I'm going to switch to Dr. Diaz-Archundia now. Doctora Diaz-Archundia, ¿cómo se puede corregir la debilidad en los flexores?
Hola, muchas gracias. Pues sí, la debilidad flexural, como lo comento, aquí es ejercicio, lo contrario de la contractura que es reposo, sacarlos al sol, y cuando hay una debilidad muy significativa que el menudillo toca el suelo, hay que cubrir estas estructuras con un vendaje de protección para que no se llegue a lesionar la piel. Es importante cuando tenemos un potro prematuro dismaduro, sacar una radiografía de los huesos cuboidales, del carpo y del tarso para ver si hay una ossificación completa o no, saber el grado de madurez y saber así si se puede sacar a ejercicio y al sol o no. Cuando hay un grado de madurez y cuando solamente es esa laxitud, se puede sacar al sol perfectamente y el puro ejercicio empieza a fortalecer estos tendones flexores, se empieza a ver gradual. Si no, ya te manejo, hay herraje que te puede levantar también esta parte flexora y básicamente eso.
Otra pregunta, doctora. No la entiendo muy bien, la voy a leer como está escrita. Desde hace varios años, luego de un entrenamiento progresivo del potro, hago la primera monta a los 3 años. A los 3 años se ha generado un movimiento, ahí es donde no entiendo, que independientemente del entrenamiento pie a tierra, solo deben montarse a los 5 años. ¿Cuál es su opinión?
Tampoco lo entendí muy bien, pero a lo que yo creo que se refiere es acerca de las placas de crecimiento. ¿Sí? Hay que saber cuándo cierra la placa de crecimiento. Está reportado que las placas de crecimiento que más se tardan en cerrar están entre los 3,5 a 4 años de edad. Por eso se recomienda montar a los caballos posterior a esta edad, ¿sí? Pero en muchas disciplinas, por la cuestión de la industria equina, como lo he comentado en mi charla, aceleran este proceso y los están montando desde el 1,5 años, 2 años, en los caballos de carrera, caballos 2 añeros que ya están en los derbis. Entonces, no dejan cerrar la placa de crecimiento. Después hay microlesiones en el cartílago y el crecimiento se ve alterado, que se recomienda hasta que cierre la placa de crecimiento. Se recomienda que su entrenamiento, o sea, que se arrende el caballo después de los 3 años de edad. Se recomienda, bueno, yo siempre recomiendo cuando no hay prisa, esperarse hasta los 3,5, 4 años, primero empezarlo a trabajar a piso y después ya montársele después de los 4 años.
Perfecto, muchas gracias, doctora Díaz Archundia. Dr. Crandell, is it okay to feed a thoroughbred, I think it was 6 kilograms of oats plus 6 kilograms of a balanced feed plus alfalfa grass per day?
Well, if the horse is still alive, then I guess it's okay. But is not would not be the diet that I would recommend. I like to keep the diet at least at 50% forage. So if you were feeding 12 kilos of just between oats and concentrates, then you're already well over that one. I mean, the total intake that the horse could have is well, with just that, you're over what they would probably eat in hay and or pasture. So my recommendation is try to cut down the oats. I mean, you're really affecting the balance of the microbes in the hindgut when you add so many kilos of oats and so many kilos of a concentrate and so little forage. It just doesn't function. They don't function as optimal as we would like them to. So I would be trying to get a better quality forage so that you can increase the calories through the forage and then cut down the oats and the concentrate, or just get rid of the oats altogether and stick with the concentrate.
Okay, thank you very much. What is the minimum amount of time for sun exposure for adequate vitamin D supply?
Okay, so that's a really good question because in humans, they say it's just 15 minutes. In horses, I'm not really sure if we know the exact amount of time, but it isn't that long when it comes to exposure to sunlight. Now, when we turn our horses out with blankets and things like that, now we've started limiting them to that sun exposure. So then it can be an issue. But in the research, we really haven't really found a level of lack of sun that would start to cause a vitamin D deficiency.
Okay, and one last for this second questions. Are vitamin E requirements modified because of stress or illness? Do you have any data?
We don't have any data at Kentucky Equine Research. We have a lot of data on vitamin E and for performance and boosting immune function. But as for exact data on that, no, we don't have it. But the recommendations are that when the horse is suffering illness or there are certain times that you would want to increase the amount of vitamin E. Maybe like if a horse has muscular problems, a problem with tying up, you would want to make sure that the horse has higher levels of vitamin E in the diet. So yeah, again, research, but the recommendations do say that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brandel. Doctora Díaz Archundia, ¿Qué razas están más predispuestas a las enfermedades ortopédicas del desarrollo?
Pues en sí las razas que tienen un aceleramiento rápido en el crecimiento, ejemplo, pura raza española, pura sangre, todas las ibéricas, lusitano, español, portugués, etcétera, todas estas que tienen un rápido crecimiento son las más susceptibles a presentar estas enfermedades.
Muchas gracias, doctora. ¿Hay datos sobre la deficiencia de cobre en pastura y o interferencia de molibdeno similar a lo que ocurre en el bovino? Si hay, ¿cómo se suplementa en equinos a pasto?
No sabría decirle exactamente si hay datos en la postura, pero lo que yo les comentaba, y cuando no se tiene una buena calidad de forraje previo al destete, hay que suplementar con minerales. Ya hay suplementos específicos para esta edad en cuanto a minerales. O si van a suplementar, dependiendo si es un animal que va a tener un rendimiento atlético importante, bueno, ya se suplementa con un concentrado indicado para esta etapa de crecimiento y ya va balanceado con minerales.
Perfecto, sí, y vamos a tener una plática sobre minerales, entonces quizás ahí también se pueda abordar esta pregunta. Una última pregunta para usted en esta parte. ¿Cuál sería el tratamiento quirúrgico para la corrección de las deformaciones flexurales? La pregunta la hace una estudiante.
Ok. Cuando tenemos una retracción de tendones, que es lo que antes se conocía como contractura, se tiene que hacer la desmotonía del check ligament o, si es severa, pues la tenectomía del tendón flexor digital superficial. ¿Sí? Y aquí, bueno, ya corregimos, más aparte la puntera que se le realiza, algunas férulas, manejo. Cuando no se respondió al tratamiento convencional de oxitetraciclinas, vendajes, férulas y fisioterapia.
Muchas gracias, doctora Díaz Archundia. Dr. Prandel, what would be the adequate formula for supplementing orphan foals with cow milk?
So there is a difference between cow milk and horse milk. And so the it's been a while since I've had to calculate this one. Let me think a minute. I do know that we have to add some dextrose, some sugar to cow milk, and you don't want to use the full fat cow milk. You want to use a skim cow milk if you're going to try to adapt it. But you do need to add some more sugar to it. And the other thing is it may be too concentrated, so you might have to dilute it a bit with water as well.
Okay, thank you. What protein percentage is adequate for a weaned foal?
Okay, so weanling foals, if you looked at the total diet, we like to see the protein at about between 15 and 16% for a weanling. The way that they can get it is, I mean, like if you were trying to buy a concentrate feed, you would look for one with those percentages. You also they're going to be getting some protein from the forage. So if you are feeding a higher protein forage like an alfalfa, then you may not need a concentrate feed with that high of protein in it. So it would be it might be adequate to feed them a 12 or 14% protein. And then what I failed to mention in the talk about ration balancers, if you are going with a ration balancer, a lot of times the protein will be around 30%, between 25 and 30%. And this is because you're feeding a small amount. So if you just looked at the grams of protein that they got from that small amount, it would be very similar to the amount that a foal would get from 1 or 2 kilos of a full feed.
Okay. Now, there's a question from someone who didn't understand what you explained, and this is the question. Is it necessary to slow the growth rate from 5 to 12 months of age in order to avoid bone problems?
No, it's not necessary, and sometimes it's impossible because the foal's going to grow no matter what you do. But it is if you if they are growing really fast, it's probably a good idea to try to slow them down to decrease the risk. I mean, it's not 100% that they're going to have orthopedic problems, but they have a higher risk of developing them. So you may want to slow down the growth rate. Now, again, that was, I mentioned this window of opportunity is like that weanling period is when you see the development of a lot of these orthopedic diseases. And if you can get them past that, that window of opportunity into the yearling year, then it's not quite as critical about slowing down the growth rate because the risk has gone way down of them developing problems.
Thank you very much. Doctora Díaz Archundia, ¿en cuántos días de vida del potro se puede decidir entre algo conservador y algo quirúrgico?
Ok, bueno, yo siempre manejo, ya vimos que hay 3 factores que me pueden desencadenar. Cuando el manejo convencional, que es la oxitetraciclina, que se manejó dentro de las primeras 24 horas, no viste un efecto significativo de más del 50%, ok, ¿puedes darle una segunda dosis? Sí, pero es difícil que ya te corrija, entonces es cuando ya esperas a que madure un poco el potro y lo sometes a cirugía. Pero yo no me espero más de 1, 2, 3 meses a esperar el efecto de la oxitetraciclina. Si no lo hizo los primeros 3 días, ya no lo va a hacer.
Muchísimas gracias, doctora. ¿Cómo maneja los tiempos de sol del potro si es que se tiene dentro de caballeriza y no en pastoreo?
Cuando no hay opción de soltarlos a potrero, a su baño de sol, bueno, cuando hay solamente un tiempo establecido, yo lo que siempre manejo son 45 minutos el primer día, y si es un potro sano correctamente, yo a las 24 horas reevalúo, mido IgGs, veo todos los aplomos, el ombligo, y veo que es un potro sano, ya lo saco 2, 3 veces al sol por un lapso de 45 minutos cada salida.
Perfecto. ¿Y recomienda el uso de la quiropráctica para algunas de estas enfermedades ortopédicas, sumando el manejo nutricional?
No tengo experiencia, pero sí colegas me han hablado de los buenos resultados de la quiropráctica, pero yo no tengo experiencia.
Gracias, doctora. Dr. Prandell, what deficiencies are common in free-ranging horses?
Deficiencies in free-ranging horses? That's a really good question. I'm not quite sure because I've never caught one and actually done a nutritional analysis on them. They are in general pretty healthy. When you see pictures of a lot of them, they might have nice, beautiful coats, and that would be an indication that they're not really lacking that much. We do see that they grow slower than horses that in captivity, and so we probably don't see quite as many orthopedic problems, although they do exist within the wild horse population. I can imagine that as long as they have forage available, that fresh forage, then they wouldn't probably have a problem with vitamin deficiencies. The minerals may be an issue, particularly some areas where the soils are selenium deficient. But at least here in the United States, where we have most of our wild horse populations, they are in areas that have adequate selenium, or even selenium accumulator plants that can be toxic. So yeah, what deficiencies? I would love actually to do a study on something like that and find out.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, when you say colts need more calories than fillies, do you know what's the reason behind it?
I don't know 100% sure, but I theorize that if you watch colts in the field, they tend to be a lot more active than fillies, or not a lot, but just more active than than fillies. They play more. They have more contact with other colts and things like that. So I think it's just a question of being busier and burning more calories from activity.
Okay. And well, this one, when I read it, disturbed me a little. So let's see.
Uh-oh.
Do you have any references on growth hormone? In Colombia, a high percentage of criollo horses do not see the sun. They are kept inside a stable, are supplemented with from the first week of life with concentrate. They are offered hay and do not exercise. When they are 3 or 4 years old, they are given growth hormone. Do you have any experience with it?
No, I don't. I feel, actually, I'm sorry. I mean, I love Colombia. It's a beautiful country, but I feel sorry for those young horses because it is so much healthier for them to be out and moving around. I mean, Dr. Adriana, she explained how, I'm sorry, not Dr. Adriana, but the doctor from Australia, he explained how important the movement and concussion and exercise is in the development of bone and muscle tissue. So, and I wish maybe there was a way to change that so that these guys could grow up in groups and in fields and have a healthier life. But by compensating with growth hormone, I don't know if it really makes a difference.
Okay, thank you very much. Doctora Díaz Archundia. En la deformidad de hiperflexión o retracción, ¿es el músculo el que se encuentra contraído o cuál es el fundamento de utilizar oxitetraciclina?
La oxitetraciclina funciona quelando el calcio, entonces lo que ayuda es a que el músculo, tanto el músculo como el tendón, no jalen tanto calcio. Entonces, ese es su fundamento principalmente.
¿Y qué dosis recomienda para la utilización terapéutica de oxitetraciclina?
Yo me voy con la dosis alta, recomienda de 2 a 3 gramos en 250 mililitros, intravenosa, lento. Y yo siempre me voy con la dosis alta.
¿Qué tan frecuente se presenta la resistencia a la insulina?
Actualmente se está presentando más debido a la obesidad que están presentando las yeguas en la gestación. O sea, ya a pesar de que ya hay muchos conocimientos en nutrición, se sigue viendo yeguas muy obesas durante la gestación previo al parto, y bueno, cada vez se está viendo más esta enfermedad.
Gracias, doctora. Dr. Crandell, what type of concentrate or ration do you recommend for a 2-year-old colt that is a carrier of HYPP?
Okay, so HYPP is a genetic disorder that we find in quarter horses, and the result of this genetic disorder is that they don't handle potassium well, and so you're going to want to find a concentrate that's as low in potassium as possible. And if you're going with commercial concentrates, it's not usually on the label, the amount of potassium, but you can always contact the manufacturer and they will gladly give you the levels of potassium in their concentrates. When it comes to forages, they're naturally high in potassium, and so it's really hard to find one lower, but usually you want to stay away from alfalfa because it tends to be higher in potassium than grass hays. Another thing is when they're eating fresh grass, because of the high water content, they don't take in as much potassium at one time when they're eating. So a lot of times they can do better out on pasture eating fresh grasses. There's certain other supplements like oats or is low in potassium, and so that a lot of people that have horses with HYPP would supplement with oats. And if you're going to balance out an oat and forage diet for the HYPP horse, find just a vitamin mineral supplement. I wouldn't, not all the ration balancers are really low in potassium. So I like to recommend just the vitamin and mineral supplement to balance out what might be missing or low in the oats and hay diet.
Okay, thank you. Can soybean be also used for feeding mares during the time the foal is with its mother?
Can soybean? Well, yes, certainly. Soybean it's a protein. It's a very good protein source. And in fact, if you looked at the ingredients of the majority of the concentrate feeds, you'll see that it includes soybean meal. And the reason it's in there is to be a protein source. So yes, it would be good something good to add to the diet of the gestating mare. Again, a lot of concentrate feeds already have it in there. If you are feeding an oat diet, which can be a little bit low in protein, you can supplement it with a bit of soybean meal.
And how much is it? I'm translating. How much recommended, or is it recommended to increase or decrease the energy in the feed when there's a change in feeding stage?
Okay, I think that they're asking like if when the foal goes from like a weanling to a yearling,
Yes,
to a 2-year-old. I think that's what they're asking. Whether to decrease the energy
or increase energy.
Or increase. So what happens usually is the energy will increase or decrease with the amount of feed that they're getting. And as you, if you think about it, the older they are, the more their feed they're probably going to get. So they would just naturally be getting more energy just because they're more eating more quantity.
Yeah, it's a quantity thing. No? Doctora, thank you, Dr. Prendao. Doctora Díaz Archundia, ¿se recomienda al nacimiento hacer una prueba de glucosa en el potro y la yegua?
Yo como protocolo lo hago siempre. Este es uno dentro de mi protocolo en el manejo perinatal. Es en el parto, una vez que ya evalué todo la regla del 1, 2, 3 y el APGAR, tomo una muestra de glucosa para tener una basal y de ahí pues tener conocimientos, ¿no? Sobre todo cuando veo factores predisponentes, que la yegua está obesa, que no hay un buen balance nutricional, o algún otro factor durante la gestación.
¿Y pasa lo mismo con los burros en relación con la resistencia a la insulina?
No tengo mucho, no tengo ese dato de los burros. Sé que son más predisponentes a la trigliceridemia, pero sí, no te podría decir con certeza.
Bueno, ya estamos en tiempo. Me quedaban aquí 2 preguntas. I'm just going to finish up with you, Dr. Kathleen Crandell. Somebody from Paraguay is asking you for a book recommendation of your preference on thoroughbred training.
Oh, thoroughbred training. Now, if you ask me about thoroughbred nutrition, I definitely could give you a book. Thoroughbred.
Maybe, yes, it's a thoroughbred nutrition, but for horses that are in training.
In training. So it depends on how technical you want to get. A super reference on nutrition in general, and there is a good section on feeding the sport horse, is called Advances in Equine Nutrition. Wait a minute. Advances in Equine Clinical Nutrition. Wait a minute.
Advances in Equine Clinical Nutrition?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. That's I'm sorry. Advances in Equine Nutrition is the book, is a series of books that we've put out through Kentucky Equine Research that are available to the public. And then there is a really good nutrition book called Equine. Equine Clinical and, oh gosh, can't even remember the name of the book. Well, the authors are Gore and Harris and Conan, and it's called Equine something and Clinical Nutrition. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I don't have it's not one of those books in the library, or I would run around and go look.
Thank you very much. Everybody is very thankful for your presentations, Dr. Diaz-Archundia, Dr. Kathleen Crandell, and we have to say goodbye now. We have to go into a breakup period, and I hope that you will stay with us. Gracias a todos y todas por sus preguntas, y tenemos un receso. Nos vemos en 10 minutos. Gracias.
Thank you. Bye-bye.